Welcome to EarthChangers, where we talk every week with people making a difference in the Upstate. Change a mind, change a life, change the Earth. Here's your host, Amy Hyder.
Good morning and welcome to EarthChangers. I'm Amy Hyder, your host, and joining me this morning is Sherry Barrett. Sherry is the Community Design and Land Planning Manager with Upstate Forever. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
And we're here to talk today about a subject that everyone in the Upstate is concerned about: urban sprawl. The Upstate is growing, just all around. Growth, everywhere you look, growing. New buildings are going up everywhere. New development is constantly taking place. And it's time to sit back and breathe and think about where we want things to go from here. And you're concentrating primarily in this next month or so on Boiling Springs. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Upstate Forever has been working with a group of citizens in the Boiling Springs area for over a year. And these are citizens who are concerned about not just the rate of growth, but the quality of growth and how that is impacting quality of life in Boiling Springs. And now we've had many discussions with that group about the causes of the traffic congestion, the pattern of development that is a typical urban sprawl pattern, and what can be done about it. And we've discussed those things, but now it's time to take that conversation out to the community and give the larger community, the folks who haven't been a part of this small group of concerned citizens, an opportunity to voice their opinions and to explore what can be done to address a pattern of development that would support a more walkable community, if they're interested in that, would help address the traffic issues on Highway 9, would look at what can be done and where the opportunities are, what the assets are for the community, and what the issues and challenges are and how those can be addressed. The great thing about this process is that there'll be a process that the County of Spartanburg will be undertaking, hopefully within the next year, we hope. The county's looking at the southwest area of the county and area performance planning for that area. And we hope that the next area will be the central area of the county, which will include, but not be exclusive to, the Boiling Springs community.
Okay, so tell us about some of the problems. What is contributing to this?
The pattern of development and the policies that guide development are responsible for guiding growth.
Right.
And whether those policies are geared toward allowing the type of development that has taken place and the number of businesses, how they're accessed off of a highway, where residential is going, things like that. Not that you can't have a community that allows all those things.
Right.
It's just how they're connected to each other is a really important part of it. And whether there is the opportunity to have places that are mixed use, where you can live, work, play all in one place, how neighborhoods are connected to each other, connected to schools, connected to the places that people go in their daily lives. We know that most people in a bedroom community are commuting to work.
Right.
So it's very important they have an opportunity to get out of their cars and do some things that are beneficial to health outside of their cars. It's, we tend to get in our cars, commute for 30 minutes. I mean, there's a high percentage that commute alone in their car for 30 minutes each way every day. And this has impacted health, which is really at the heart of what Heart of Boiling Springs is all about. We're looking at this in terms of the impact on health, although there are many other impacts of a sprawling community that are not good, and some of those have to do with the cost to serve a pattern of development that spreads out. The cost of fire service, police service, you're covering a lot of ground, and it's more expensive to cover that if it's in a spreading pattern that's spread out across the landscape versus having at least some development that's in a more concentrated area.
And what happens is just when things are just allowed to grow willy-nilly, they don't grow in any sort of useful pattern. Like people go, that'd make a great neighborhood community, and they just build a place with one access point to a highway, and it's a neighborhood, and there are no shops, and there's nothing there. So all people can do is drive in and out, and that's it. And then you get other areas like, let's look at, Woodruff Road in Greenville, where everybody wants to be there because everybody's shopping there. So then it just gets more and more crowded as more and more stores go in, and they can't keep up with the growth. And no one wants to go there because the traffic's so bad, yet everyone has to go there because that's where all the shops are. And then you have a number of communities off of that road that only enter onto Woodruff Road. So that's the only way they can get in and out of their homes. So that's sort of like the ultimate horrible example of how that uncontrolled growth goes.
That's right. And the access management is key. If we have all development that feeds off of arterials, and that everybody has to go out onto that arterial from their neighborhood, even to go to another neighborhood to visit a friend. To get to our schools, to get to shopping, to get to work, to get to anything we do, we tend to have to come out of our neighborhood, as you said, one access point, get on that arterial, and that's creating a lot of congestion. So traffic congestion is a big issue in the Boiling Springs area, especially at peak times when school gets out. So
the community really needs to get on top of this in a planning sort of way.
That's right.
Get some plans on the ground, some potential regulations in place possibly.
But before you look at policies, the community needs to come together and decide, what do they want to be when they grow up? What is the goal? What is the quality of place that they're looking for? Do they want to be, they were once rural, it's going to be a tough road to hoe to get back to that. But because growth has come. And most people like the growth. I mean, a lot of people look at sprawl as prosperity because it's new businesses coming in. It's another place to shop, another place to eat, and we are for growth. It's good that communities are growing and seeing new businesses, but it's how that growth is accommodated. What the relationships of the buildings are to each other, and how they accommodate people by car, on foot, by bike. If we have multimodal access and not just focus on accommodating people arriving by vehicle, like motor vehicle, then we can look at a quality of place that isn't the same that you get with the pattern that's been in place under the regulations as they are now. And there are regulations in place. The land management ordinance for the county is in place that to some extent creates buffers between uses that may not be compatible. The problem is that it also requires buffers between uses that are compatible. And as we know, in mixed-use places that have become very popular in other areas, and right now that is very difficult to do in Spartanburg County under the current regulations. So if that is something that the community in Boiling Springs comes together and would like to see, more of a center that where it's a live, work, play kind of a destination that has a sense of place and opportunities to live near retail shops, near restaurants, near entertainment, where all of those things can be accommodated by all modes of transportation. Then that would take a different set of policies to drive that.
I see. So this is all about creating change.
Yes.
And not just forethought, but change.
Yes, ultimately the community's voice will be amplified in the report that is generated through this public engagement process that Heart of Boiling Springs, a concerned group of citizens, has undertaken and is facilitating. Our consultant is Tool Design Group, and the leader of this process is Ernie Bauman with Tool Design Group. He is a resident of Boiling Springs, so he lives it. He knows the great things about this community, and he knows the challenges, but he'll be very. He's very experienced in bringing that out and letting the community's voice come out through a variety of activities at these workshops. People have different ways of interacting. So our goal is to get folks to the workshop, to have them participate in ways that they are comfortable. There'll be a number of ways, through preference surveys, looking at images and saying, well, do you like this or do you like this? Do you think you'd like to see more of this type of housing in your community? You'd like to see more of this type of retail? A lot of folks go directly to specific retail outlets and entertainment, because that's one thing that we have heard in the outreach that we've done a little bit of leading up to the workshop is folks see a need for more entertainment opportunities. And so that to me is very supportive of a mixed-use kind of place. Right. Because a mixed-use place can host venues for entertainment, especially for, I think the Bowling Springs community is very family-focused, and they're interested in very family-focused entertainment opportunities. And sometimes you can create a sense of place, and it's just a nice place to be outside at one of these mixed-use centers that has, I can't think of a local example, but other than some of our downtowns where you have, you have people just going there because that's the place to be. And they're not necessarily even shopping or purchasing. They're window shopping. They're people watching.
It's fun to walk around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just go and spend a nice Saturday. So that's the sort of thing you're trying to create here.
Well, that's the kind of thing that this small group that we've been working with would like to see. Now, what they want to find out is, does the community agree with them? And that's what this process is all about.
So if you're part of the Boiling Springs community, you need to come out to at least one of these workshops, and your voice will be heard. So if this sounds like, oh, no, I liked it, it was so quiet before, don't do this to us, then you need to make your voice heard. If you go, yes, absolutely, I've been screaming this for years, then you also need to come out to these workshops so you can be heard. Now, when and where are the workshops taking place?
Okay, the workshops are on March 22nd. That's a Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and that's the Discovery Workshop, and that's the first and best opportunity to participate in the process, because after the Discovery Workshop, the Tool Design Group will take all the data that they have collected from that workshop and from surveys that are going on now online, and I want to mention where folks can go to participate in that survey. They will take all of that data and then analyze it and actually create some illustrations and project an image of what they think they have heard the community say they would like to see. Some of the potential solutions to what might happen on Highway 9. There could be other areas of the community that folks would like to see. They will call them vignettes, I think?
Vignettes.
And that will give people a chance to say, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. They'll be able to, not just in words, hear back what the consultants thought they heard, but to see pictures and images of the types of things that the consultants think they hear the community say they would like the future of Bowling Springs to look like.
Okay. And then you have...
So the second workshop is the validation workshop. And that's where these things will be presented. And that workshop is Thursday, April 26th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Now, there will still be an opportunity to give feedback.
Right.
But it will be there'll be more responding to something that has been identified and is illustrated. And they'll be able to say, no, you didn't hear us exactly right. That wasn't really what we were thinking. Or, yes, that would be great. So that validation workshop, again, is Thursday, April 26th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So really attendance at both workshops is important.
Yes.
If you can only make one, please come. I do want to mention the survey that is online at www.heartofboilingsprings.com. There's a banner right on the top of the web page that comes up and says, take this survey, or please help us by taking this survey. And it's just 10 questions, I think, maybe. It's not a long survey, but it would be very helpful to the consultants and in the data collection process to have you take that online. So that would be good.
All right, and where are these workshops being held again?
The workshops are at Bowling Springs First Baptist Church, which is 3600 Bowling Springs Road, which is Highway 9.
Okay. Of course it's on Highway 9
Yes.
if it's Boiling Springs. So, we encourage everyone in Boiling Springs to come out for these workshops, help determine the future of your community. And this is going to be a thing I think the whole Upstate should watch, because it's certainly, let's see how people grow their community responsibly, because again, uncontrolled growth doesn't lead to great places. We have so much good going on in the Upstate, and I think you guys are doing such a great job, such a great thing with this Heart of Boiling Springs. So I really appreciate you coming on today, Sherry. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. We've been speaking with Sherry Barrett. She's the Community Design and Land Planning Manager with Upstate Forever. And don't forget, get out to these Heart of Boiling Springs workshops. Again, when's the first one?
March 22nd.
Okay, March 22nd.
5:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
At Bowling Springs First Baptist
And
Church.
I expect everyone in Boiling Springs to be there. Thank you for joining us again, and we will be back with more Earth Changers right after this.